morning, friends. Necromancer and Ross Riders are the first ones here today. Hello, hello. Good morning. It's time to take our maracas so we don't forget again. Everybody take your meds. Goodbye. It's been so long. How you doing? Hi. I have the wrong painting open because my computer restarted and everything's out of order. Everything's just messed up and confused. This is the painting we're working on. I'm good today. A little bit tired. Once again, my insomnia strikes. But how are you, Ross? Messed up and confused is a mood for many people. Yeah, including the President of the United States, apparently. You've seen the stuff that I've been posting in news. It's like, they can't prove the man is still alive or even, you know, all there. Look, there will always be people who want real art done by real people, just as there are people who are like, my pharmacist put it this way, there are people who are diamond purists. They will only buy diamonds that are proven to come from actual mines because they believe they are somehow better. In the case of diamonds, it doesn't really matter. You get just as many flaws in the real ones as you do in the fake ones, and you can even get less flaws in the fake ones. You can make perfect diamonds, utterly flawless. But in the case of human artists will always have this certain je ne sais quoi, this sort of touch. You got the touch, you got the power. That machines won't, because they can't. Until they become self-aware and creative, God forbid. A few times I will use that phrase. Until machines become self-aware and creative, they cannot produce art. Snake, why are we still here? Just to suffer? Transformers the movie was the first introduction to Transformers for most people. And it's also how to make a room full of 8-year-old boys cry. Apparently that's a story. Well, they would have been 11, but yes. So yes, I saw a robot devil eat a planet. Yes. 6 years old. I didn't think you knew Cheese, so I thought he was part of that story. But I knew he had definitely seen the movie before we moved to moved to that city. I always got the impression that Cheese was part of that story, but I think it was just relayed by him. A lot of good guys get slaughtered to the instruments of destruction. Yes. Yeah, that was, what's my element? girlfriend and writing a Transformers fanfic and that. Oh my god, at 6 years old writing a Transformers fanfic? That's wild. You see, I've never heard this story from you. I've only ever heard it from Cheese, and I always thought he was part of it, but I'm like, well, that couldn't be right, because we definitely saw it when we were kids in the town of Other Base Name. All the good guys died one at a time. A whole bunch of them were right at the beginning. Firefly movie was soft in comparison, yeah. And it was all to sell more toys, so that they could start a new line of toys. And it was the biggest mistake they could ever make. This was our Game of Thrones. Yeah. So basically. Was this our Red Wedding? Yeah. It was like, Hasbro, you done goofed? Sorry, I'm eating. It's eating shot right now. Yeah, the Gundam shows do kill a lot of people, I've heard. Any horror series, too. Should kill all the characters. Wait a minute, Rinny's followed me back? Oh my god. So we have a new name on the board today, Rinny's. She's another artist VTuber. I haven't seen her art yet. But, she just hit 1,000 followers yesterday. Which is amazing. And she seems like a really, really nice person, and Arcane Memory, who's a very good friend of mine, really likes her and is friends with her. So, and she seems to stream later at night. So, yeah, go check her out, because she seems like a really neat person. She was doing the same thing that I do when she's working on something that she can't show. She runs Spirit City, except she's got, like, her VTuber in the scene, and I don't know how she does it, how she has the VTuber in the scene without her character being in the scene. So, I wish I could import my VTuber into Spirit City. I would love that so much. I tried to kill Gundam as a whole with Victory Gundam. Monitor, hello? We suppressed AF orbs and stuff with Bandai and Gundam as a whole at that time. That makes some sense if I later show her a tad later. G Gundam shows how even trying to settle world wars and fighting turn out with mechs across the world still has collateral suffering. And winning one scene has surrender soldiers getting slaughtered anyway. Yeah. That's depressing. Tesla, have you eaten your food? Hold on. I have to go get his food. Put it next to me. Have it. Here, my sweet piggies. Oh, well. Okay. Once again, let me know if the music is too loud. See, this is why I like Macross. Macross has a lot less horror. Macross is about, like, love triangles and singing and music and shit. Just have space mechs. I much prefer more cheerful things, which is why, like, for the longest time I would not watch Sword Art. Because it was just depressing. But yeah, Robotech was a Macross introduction for most people who know what it is. I have the hiccups. I did a little bit of work last night. I started fixing Fox's face. I didn't get to finish before I got too tired, but part of the problem. I messed up my workspace a little bit here. I dragged the tools in there and messed up my workspace. Yeah, I never saw Robotech, oddly enough. Never got to see it. But I grew up without cable television. Watch can attest to that. She knows. Akira was the first anime I ever saw. Then followed by Tenchi Muyo and then Sailor Moon. Pretty sure I saw Galaxy Express 999 at some point, but I don't actually remember it. Tesla? Batman, come here. You done? I think he's done for today. You say I see, like... It's like, so that's what's wrong with you. interesting if they're gonna show the woman as the main pilot. No. Well, a lot of those kinds of shows are aimed at males, so they tend to select male characters as the main pilots. Shonen anime doesn't have a lot of female leads, and when they do, they tend to be like big boobed women. Or there's like some male sub-lead who's arguably in some ways more important than her. It's kind of weird. It's like, this is your main character, but she's actually not. Or she relies heavily on the male character. There are the rare ones that allow the female lead to just be a leader. She actually has good leadership qualities, and she's not just a pair of boobs. Those are the rare ones. You see me just like pause every once in a while in like a weird spot. It's because my monitor keeps turning off on me because the connection is, for whatever reason, really loose. It's driving me absolutely batshit insane. Necromancer!
Necromancer Dark is hosting a guest. Welcome Kvatch to the island.
Kvatch. Monitor, hello. Can we just operate normally, please? Thank you so much, Necromancer, for continuing Necrocon as always. PSA! Has Buckma Snoot? It is the Boop Snoot. Like the Doop Snoot. But it is the Snoot that gets booped. The Boop Snoot. How you doing today, Fantasy? We missed you yesterday. We also missed Necromancer yesterday, too. So both you and Necromancer weren't here. The regulars felt irregular. Did you have a good day with your little tiny pirate-loving cousin yesterday? I hope you got to talk pirates a lot. Let me get some kelp in here. This. Yes, we watched Ted the World's Strongest Bear because he's a bit scared of Captain Sabretooth. Oh, that's adorable. Morning, Aki. I got my old glasses, so no more headaches. Just waiting to get my money back. Nice. That's good. Ah, son of a bitch. Hold on. Hi. Sorry. I hate doing business over the phone. Oh, God. I'm back. That was way more expensive than I thought it was gonna be. To move, they're like, it's gonna cost you $4,800. And I'm like, Son of a bitch! I'll do it my fucking self. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'll rent the U-Haul for $700, thanks. I'll rent the U-Haul for $700 and my brother come pick up most of my stuff. Pretty much everything except for me, my cat, and my computer. And then... What was he saying it was gonna cost? Because I was expecting it to be like $3,500. I was not expecting $4,800. Prices have really gone up. Thank you for the hydrate, Aki. But yes, good morning to Aki and Boxin Tea. How's everybody doing? How are you two doing? Let me zoom out here so that you can see the work that we're doing while I chat. Oh, and a streak. Oh god, no! Not 3 times the U-Haul, absolutely not. It's more like 5 times the U-Haul. Just working? Well, we're just vibing, so... Working and vibing. It's a good combination. You need a bigger map for your Magic the Gathering cards. Yeah, it's the pandemic inflation. I tried to account for that, but it's not nearly what I thought it was. Well, you see, like, in my case, I don't have a vehicle, right? And I can't drive. So, I would have to pay the price for a mover if I didn't have my brother to come down and drive the U-Haul for me. Yeah, they have a dock-to-dock policy. So they would have to move me from my town, where their dock is, to my new town, or my new city, back home. And then they would have to drive all the way back to their dock. And that's what costs. And they're like, but if we could do it in one day, depending on where the truck has to park. And I'm like, you would definitely be able to do it in one day, but, like, do your drivers want to drive 5.5 hours twice? That's who the quote is from. It's 2 men in a truck. That's the exact company that I went with, because they're the ones who moved me from Oakville to where I live now. Yeah, if I got with one of the big moving companies, like Alliance or whatever it is, they would be charging me like $8,000. But yeah, 2 men in a truck is exactly what I used. You now have caffeine? Oh yeah. I should let Tesla out. Be right back. Alright, okay, let's put your food away and let you out. You got chicken nuggets. Oh, I'm jealous. We got McDick's last night, and it came with a free Happy Meal. And they forgot to give us the Happy Meal. So I was like, well, it doesn't matter because it was free anyways. And I'm like, but the chicken nuggies. No, my budget doesn't really cover anything other than DIY. Like, when it was both Cy and I moving together and we paid, you know, $2,000 to move from Oakville, you know, it was our entire apartment together. And her stuff here is already gone except for anything that she wants in the kitchen, her desk, her bed, which consists of a mattress on the floor, her lamp, her computer, and her TV, and her cats. And, like, a couple of small boxes, but her family actually has, like, a truck. I want to get myself a cargo van at some point for, like, hauling and moving stuff, but I also want to buy that land up north. And I've got to see if, like, if I can get that price on that land reduced. It's already quite low, but, like, the amount of cleanup I would have to do and hiring of an engineer and... Community rideshare. For what? Moving to Ottawa? Feels like the music's a little bit too loud. I'm going deaf over here. Rental truck sharing. I did not know that was a thing. That's a thing that people do. I was unaware of. Need to fix Fox's face. It's driving me crazy. Doing really heavily shadowed eyes is extremely difficult. Because otherwise they look like they have nothing in there and it's terrifying. Doesn't help that I can't seem to get the shape of his face quite right either. It's driving me nuts! Between two university jobs during the start of term, not possible to imagine. Yeah. Our garbage room right now is just insane. And there's construction sounds. Oh boy. Great joy. Can you guys hear that? I'm trying to be a professional streamer here. Well, at least I won't have to deal with any more of that when I move home. It's starting to look a little bit better. Why am I losing my voice? Ah! Oh, good lord. Yeah. So, Dendroni has this thing that, like, the more chains you have on your character, like these little decorative chains, the higher your rank is in the court, I suppose, to call it. And they're such a pain to draw. Such a pain. Which is why Maddie has so many little chains on her character. Never in my life did I think I would ever paint anything with this much detail in it. I am enjoying the challenge immensely, but also, Jesus Christ. I have new appreciation for, like, the Renaissance painters who painted things with this level of detail. All the time. And without the use of computers and the undo button. And these toxic paints that drove them literally mad. It's all about layers, fantasy. Still need to ask Ark about Art character and if he's doing his dagger thing next year. Maybe people would already know by now. See if I can teach that workshop. Maybe I can teach you how to paint. If he does, I want to go there. Paint a dagger. Take my time with it. Nice. Art will really love you. One of the things I discovered most about myself and my character is we are happiest when we're creating play for others. not just play, but other experiences, which is, you know, shocking that I didn't know this before. Stupid Sunbelt. So much work. It's worth it, but it's so much work. It's gonna be interesting to... There's the grinding again. It's back. Celeste will be happy just to help others. They're to have fun. They're having their old blasts back from any new ones. Look, if they were causing you headaches, I completely understand that. Oh, God, the grinding. I'm a professional streamer, guys. Yes, so professional. and see how messy this actually is. During one live stream, I got hugs from Legis. Nice. Necromancer needs all the hugs. Always give Necromancer hugs. And Neff. Just not in person. Don't give them hugs in person. I don't think they like that much. I know Neff doesn't like physical contact, I guess. Alright. I'm gonna do the thing that I did before. There's one over here. See, this one's already like way off. Do the thing I really hate doing. When I'm struggling with a part, this method I find works best. Where I place the part that I'm struggling with as close as possible. So that I can see what I'm doing. That is not the tool I selected. This one I think we're just gonna have to repaint entirely. How are we all this morning? I'm good. Hope you're doing good. Sorry if I'm quiet. As usual, the concentration is taken over. Last night I started going through a couple of old paintings and like trying to fix them up with the new stuff that I've learned. Therapy sessions last upwards to an hour. And hey, therapy's great. Glad you're getting therapy. Sorry, I'm gonna have my appointment to talk to someone about sleep apnea tomorrow. Hopefully return some semblance of life soon. Sleep is so ridiculously important to life. If you're not sleeping well, your whole day is just gonna be fucked. And I think a lot of, like, society's problems, mental health-wise, can probably be attributed to poor sleep habits. Oh my lord, the grinding. Like, half the units on my floor are moving out in the next month or two. And, yesterday was move-out day. So a lot of the construction will be happening. I'm not happy with the placement of this one. Even though it's not the same, I prefer this one to be here. Which means we have to go in and fix all the color here. Doesn't have to be exact. Ross, is your phone a cell phone? Because if so, do what my family does and set it to airplane mode at night. That way, nobody can bother you. And if they're like, but I need you in case of an emergency, you'll be like, well, then the emergency services should be called and not me. It's as simple as that. Oh my lord, this is grinding. Oh. I hate Sleep Precious. cleaning this up is the part I'm dreading the most. Well, let's just work our way from one side to the other. We're looking in completely the wrong set of golds. I am so sorry for the noise, guys. There's literally nothing I can do about it. I feel so bad. I'm gonna mute my mic for now, so you guys can just vibe. Yeah, I wouldn't know how to do a high pass filter out of OBS Necromancer. I would have no clue. I just don't want you guys to be, you know, bothered by it. It is really very annoying. At least this is slowly starting to look like it's supposed to. Oh yeah, it is quite a bit louder. Like, I am already starting to develop a headache from it. Which sucks. Welcome back. Looks like OBS can do it. There's some good way. I've used OBS, so I don't know the implications. A high pass filter to block out the construction sounds. Well, it won't matter in a month anyways, so... Until then, we can just be unprofessional streamer. Thank you for the hide. Ain't enough in the streets. The dancing dinos. Dancing dinos. Do it live. Gotta fix it now! So it's getting better, guys. It's getting better. It doesn't help that there's also some in the neighborhood. Some are running a machine that's going. Nyeh. Sounds like a skill saw or a belt sander. Today is construction day for everybody, it would seem. grinding its back again. It's never ending. I feel like bending over in this belt would be dangerous. It depends on our steam engine's part of your world. There are some steampunk elemented adjacent characters in Conquest, so. So much detail? Yeah. But it'll look so good when zoomed out. Like, look at that. It looks... It's worth it. I think it's worth it to do this level of detail. They're not a part of Celeste's world or medieval fantasy. Well, I mean, that's up to you. Goddamn tool. could do oak leaves, since the bar was called the Oak Bar. Yeah, I mean, oak is a great motif for medieval stuff. Oak was a very popular motif in medieval times, actually. Acorns are actually pretty nutritious. So I'm not surprised that oak became a popular theme amongst medieval design stuff. Move on to the next one and come back and do another detail pass afterwards. the detail in this section. Thank you. Liquify tool ends up doing a lot of blurring for me, but I don't mind. It was very roughly painted in before. Now we're doing the detail pass. And we're doing another detail pass after this detail pass. Detail passception. Helps if I'm using the right brush. It's difficult, but you know what? I think it's rewarding. Maybe a train decoration would, but not sure where to start. What do you mean a train decoration? Like, just a fake train out of wood to put on your shelf? There's the Hydrodaki. We're doing the first level of details here. Oops, that is the wrong brush, as always. intense concentration. so much better. Amazing what happens when you actually put effort into your details, right? Instead of slapping in some color, you're like, oh yeah, that's good enough for now. And then later, when everything starts becoming properly detailed, you're like, oh shit, now I gotta go do this. And basically, paint the whole goddamn thing. Yeah, I did end up giving them an early copy of the painting. I don't know if they ever saw it. They didn't acknowledge it. One of the guys on the group call that I was in, when I pasted it to the group call, because they were like, "Oh, what are you working on?" One guy said, "Oh, traced, nice." I was like, "It's not traced." And I very quickly backpedaled. I don't know if that was like English second language problem. I don't think he was being malicious, but you don't say things like that to an artist. You don't say that their work is traced right off the bat. And then another guy was like, "Wait, what?" And then he looks at the picture and he's like, "Oh my god, I didn't even notice that it was a painting. Oh god, it's a drawing. I thought it was, you know, two photos next to each other and thought, why would you do that?" So I don't know if they, if anybody understands how much work goes into these. People who don't show up regularly. Like, you guys know how much work I put into these. Like, I know you know. I know you all understand. Which is why I'm going to make time lapses of the painting process from the VODs. Because I don't think people actually realize that these are real paintings. And I like, as much as I don't, like, want to seem arrogant, you know, they are very good. And they are a shit ton of work. But these are gifts for people that I consider very special. It's what, like 2 hours? Yeah, for like a 16th of the painting, right? So I've basically been painting his belt for 2 hours. There's a cat asleep on the floor next to me. Hold on. Hold on. I have to go get this. I had to go take a picture of the cat. Look at him, he's sleeping with the crab. I need to vacuum my carpet again. Oh god, there's a kitty! I think it's River. Oh, yep, it's River. He wasn't moving. Because I have a concern. So I shifted my chair a little and he rolled over and he screeched out just like, yeah. Here, it's cat break.
Vivi, what are you doing, baby? Are you sleeping on the floor on your back? Yeah? You're so cute. It's so dark, it's hard to get a good photo of him.
I have to point like a light down there. He's having a lazy day. I'm taking a cat break. No purring right now, but photos are good enough. All sorts of bits of cardboard on the floor. He likes to sleep on his back. He is a silly bean. Anyways, that's cat time. Yeah, he doesn't normally sleep on my floor. It's kind of weird. Especially not, like, there. So I don't know. He's just being a silly potato today. Oh, the belt's looking so good! Like, I thought it looked good before when it was just a blurry mess, but now it's just... Ah! It's nice to zoom out every once in a while. I definitely have some of the shadows on Kit's shirt just like off. Like this one. Spot was bothering me a lot. see that it was wrong, and I was just like, this will make me angry. Yeah, I've been going through some other old paintings and like cleaning them up with everything that I have learned about fabric from these paintings. It's not just fabric either, it's the light and shadow, the way stuff bounces in the crevices. Well, then if you already have the fabric, use it. Conquest is very expensive. Yeah, see? But you have to remember, you also have to get there. You have to consider the travel back and forth, how much you're going to spend on food. Most people do not cook while there. Like, I'll make breakfast occasionally, most of the time. But even then, it's like, you want to experience the food that's there, too. So, like, you're going to go to the waffle place, or you're going to go to the Blue Pearl, or you're going to go to the bread stand. Use the fabric that you have. Okay? And if you really love Conquest, like if you go there and you have the time of your life and you go, I'm going to be going back, that's when you start to invest in new stuff. Okay? So, like, for me, not only am I, like, gonna go gung-ho on losing weight as soon as I finish my move, I'm also going to be redesigning Nameless again. I didn't think I was going to be able to go this year, so I put off remaking his outfit to the last minute, and it got kind of scuffed, and so I'm going to redo it again. Granted, I'll have access to, like, workshop space and my mom's fabrics, which she's not going to use anymore because she can't quilt anymore. So I have access to all sorts of beautiful fabrics and prints and whatnot to use. And the fabric store is closer, and I will be getting the rest of my driver's license, and I will have access to more than one vehicle. So, like, because next year will be my 3rd year, because I have purchased my ticket and I'm signed up to Dendronia, like, I am going. And now I don't have to pay rent anymore, which is really nice. I can save all of my Twitch money and put it towards Larktown and Conquest. And hopefully the channel will grow to the point where like, I can actually, you know, afford to do both. There's Rinnies who followed yesterday after I went to her stream to congratulate her on 1,000 followers, and she followed me back. But she's got 1,000 followers, and you know she's doing it in under a year. And she's an artist, so you know, why can't I? I mean, if someone else can do it, why not me, right? I think having that positive outlook really helps. I know I've struggled most of my life with all sorts of things. And, like, I don't have, like, fancy backgrounds, and I take, like, a month to do a certain painting. Sometimes 4 months to do a certain painting. Cough, necromancer's commissions. But, you know, if she can be successful, why can't I, right? I mean, there's no difference between us. We're both over 30. We're both VTubers. We're both artists. I stream weekday mornings, yes, but, you know, I've chosen hard mode. Not only do I stream weekday mornings while everybody's at work, but I also play a male VTuber. So, yeah, I am definitely going back to Conquest next year. Unless something horrible happens, I'm going back. But for your first year, if you already have linen, don't change your colors. Don't change what you're doing. Because it's very expensive. Fabric is extremely expensive, especially linen. There's a reason why I haven't used any linen yet. The funny thing is like, I'm going towards, like, even lighter linens, which are more expensive. And like, Violes? Viol is like it's a super sheer, fabric. I used to say voile, but, that's not how you say it. I think it's voile. Voile, that's the word. Goddamn French. It's imaginary. But Fantasy, if you need help with your design, I can help you with your design. Okay? Yeah, I can help you with your design. You're a friend. You're making. I know you've made like at least one gift for me, so allow me to help you with your costume, okay? Yes, well, nailing down your character is really helpful. In a way, like, I don't know Nameless's name. I think I might have discovered it in my thoughts last night. I'll keep it to myself. But in order to really nail down my character, I had to go through and create his whole species history and like how his society works and like the kinds of things that he's been through in order to, yeah, you see, in order to really facilitate his creation. Now figure out who he is, even though like he doesn't quite know himself. He's still actually discovering who he is, despite being alive for nearly 800 years. Because, like, he was a slave for 700 years. And, Damara only lived for 200. They reach adulthood around age 50 in human years. Essentially, he was, like, the equivalent of 17 or 18 when he was cursed. So, like, he was just barely entering adulthood, which is the excuse I use for why he looks so femmy in comparison to even other Demora. And that's why everybody keeps confusing him as a girl. Because I just don't have the mask vibe, especially when I'm chubby. Morbidly obese. So, if you want tips on writing character background, you need to flesh out your character, I am willing to, like, sit down with you and workshop it with you. It's something I am pretty confidently decent at, is doing these kinds of character development stuff and things. Oh, I see. The chain he's wearing is going all the way up in here. We'll get back to doing the chain later? Question mark. I was wondering why I had a bit of chain here. But yes, I am more than happy to help you develop your character. And if that helps you, you know, have a better time at Conquest, then yeah, I'm all for that. And I would like a way to say thank you for the gifts that I know that you've worked very hard on. Handmade goods are very valuable, and I can appreciate the time and effort that you've put into those, and I consider it the same as, you know, doing one of these paintings or a design. So I'm more than happy to take the time to sit down and workshop stuff with you if that will help you have a better time at Conquest. Because when you go, I want you to have the best fucking time of your life. Because I want you to come back to Conquest too. There's the grinding again. Oh yay. The same goes for Necromancer. If Necromancer wants help working out a character because he wants to go to Conquest or something, I am more than happy to sit down and workshop something with him. Because Necromancer is an awesome being who's very supportive of the community, and I can at least, you know, happily take the time to do that. Again, I can't go anything. You know, sticking to third fantasy, I only have so much luggage space. So people keep giving me gifts and I'm like, I have to take this back to Canada. Ah! Like Aline already gave me two erotic coloring books. And I'm like, I have to take this back to Canada too. But guys, I love and appreciate gifts, I really do, but also I have to take this back. Luggage. Mercy. Mercy, my friends, please. Thank you. I do appreciate that that was a consideration. Because I would feel so bad if I can't take it back with me. I just feel awful. the grinding. Sai is awake. Probably because of the grinding. Bring in an empty small suitcase in case of lots of gifts. And also the vendors. The vendors are so good. And it's not like mass-produced, like, cheap things. A lot of these vendors have made the stuff themselves. Or they're like Bergschneider, they're kind of a reseller of other companies' goods. But not like the kind of stuff you would find on Temu or whatever. Alright, here we go. We're gonna get this one going. This little sun thing. Well, after this, I shouldn't be intimidated to do really detailed design work on my characters. Yes, for sure. Jackie! Sigh! Good morning, Sizes. Yes, it's still morning. Yeah, we're doing the extreme details now, Sai. Getting into the scary bits. So messy. Such a mess. It's okay that it's a mess. Clean it up in a bit. Hanging off the belt here. See that little doodad down there? Something else hanging off the belt. It is picking up some of the drilling. It was louder earlier. Yeah, the belt's looking pretty good. I need to darken up this one still a little bit. Hello, Mathis. Meow. Meow. yes, I have seen iRobot. I'm either too easily distracted or life doesn't end. It's been a long time since I saw iRobot, but I have seen it. Was it right around here somewhere? What's this? Chasing each other, and it's adorable. Those are deemed to hydrate in the street. Good street. Oh, it looks so good. Strange, I don't remember what movie I've seen. Okay, but Ghost in the Shell is like, you know, the best, one of the best pieces of media ever made. You know, so it's definitely highly recommended. This painting's gonna take me 1,000 years. Bale's was so much easier because it was just like his shoulders up, and I had to pick the one of Fox and Crow together and be like, yes, I will do the full like knees up. This is why full body portraits cost so much more. It's like, I still have to do the little mouse pattern on that tag on her bag. I still have to finish the filigree on Fox, as well as like just general painting. Same with Crow's hands and sleeves, her necklace, the chain for her pocket watch, her skirt, Fox's necklace. and their earrings. And then I have to do, like, the closer detail bass. All the rings on Maddie's hands. There's still so much to do. And I can't get Fox's eye right. One of these days I'll get it right. And the other eye is such a pain. I was fiddling with it for like an hour and a half this morning. And by this morning I mean at like 2 a.m. Everything else so far looks really great though. Do you want to grab this tool? Life. We see what's happening is there's enough detail that your mind is filling in the rest based on the reference that you know. Like, yeah, I won't deny the painting is good, but you're also naturally filling in referentially using your brain. Those brains are cool like that. I was just using the airbrush on Whiteburn, which is a setting I think that's exclusive to Clip Studio. At least I'm not into the new enough Photoshops to know that that's a thing they have. But it allows me to just basically go for the super highlights and make them brighter. And that's how I get that soft glow on everything. Also the add glow on the airbrush. The airbrush tool is my second most used tool, other than the round mixing brush. But I take it as an extreme compliment that you can't tell which is which when I'm working on this. No. Other Eye is still driving me absolutely batshit crazy. I know it's wrong. I haven't figured out how it's wrong, despite the fact that, like, I've put them side by side and, like, painted exactly, but I can't quite get the nuance. Well, Fantasy, I will help you with your backstory later if you like. We can get into a call and workshop stuff later. Because I know that if it doesn't get done shortly, you will be struggling to get stuff done in time for Conquest next year. I just know. There is such thing as too much backstory. Yeah, there is such a thing as too much backstory, okay? Especially when it comes to a LARP character, because when you get to the LARP, you don't know what's going to happen. None of it's scripted, right? Like, even the battles at Mythodia can go awry, and, like, the quote-unquote good guys can lose, and that changes, like, the fate of the world. If we lose the battle, that changes everything. And, like, if we don't know what we're fighting for, so the knowledge seekers don't gain enough knowledge, we could theoretically lose the other kind of battle, the knowledge-based battle. And, like, for me, like, Nameless has a collar. I'm still wearing it on this avatar, but last year it broke while I was at game, but I had found somebody who was capable, quote-unquote, of removing it. And so I let the play of the world happen, and the Archmage was like, well, magic this old, it starts to age and form cracks. And magic works a little bit differently in Mythodia than it does everywhere else. So my collar was removed, which is something I didn't think would happen to Nameless. And now I'm like, okay, well, I've got 700 years worth of curse magic stored up now. What do I do with this? Because even, like, you know, 50 or 100 years of curse magic stored up, like, a Demora can use that amount of magic depending on how powerful naturally they are or how well trained they are in their use of their skills to rewrite the laws of their very nature, not just themselves, but their entire species, which is how, like, commanding voice became a thing, right? Curse the Skargan. Yeah, I would have to have permission to do that kind of level of magic. So the way I was dealing with it is Nameless put his collar back on himself after I repaired it when I got home. He's like, yeah, I put this back on myself so that I am my own master and therefore I am free. It's just I have to keep this collar on me because otherwise I could blow up the universe. Like, I could destroy Mythodia. Like, not just the Tross. He's like, he likes to say I can blow up the Tross if I want to. But what he doesn't tell anyone is he could probably literally rewrite the rules of the universe in which Mythodia exists. He could curse the entire continent out of existence if he wanted to. He could turn it into Atlantis. And that's power play, and I don't like that. And that's why the collar existed, is so that he doesn't have access to that kind of power. So it makes it more difficult for him to participate in, like, magic and stuff, too. But then, 10 minutes before game, the bench fell out from underneath me, and when I bent over to pick something up, and I sat down, there was no bench. I dropped straight down onto my butt, and my collar got caught between my collarbone and my jawbone and literally exploded off of me. The thing was put together with epoxy sculpt, and it exploded. So I'm like, oh fuck, what do I do now? Oh shit. And I was very upset, and I took some time to think about it, and I'm like, you know what? The story of this new continent is there's something here that's just sucking the magic out of everything, and magic's going awry, everything's, you know, screwing up. If you're doing like magical experiments, they could just literally explode on you for no reason whatsoever. And like there's this old guy who comes to Conquest named Callum is his character, and like he has all sorts of health problems, and all he can do is basically hobble around, and that man got around more than I did. Like I feel lazy in comparison to him. And he's like, oh yeah, it feels like the land is literally sucking the magic out through my feet, and that's why my legs and back and everything hurts so much. And I'm like, this makes sense. So I'm like, well, you know what? Something happened and the collar just fell apart. Maybe Ernst broke it too well. Ernst is the Archmage who removed the collar a year before. This year. And I was like, okay, Ernst broke it a little too well, and the weird magic of this land exploded it in a way that, like, the collar broke, but the magic is still active, so I have to keep the gem with me, and the, like, half the collar that I had. And then later, towards, like, the end of the second last day, that part of the collar also snapped in half, because I had to cut it. I had to cut the bamboo rings that I used to make it, in order to fit the gem piece on, and not make it too bulky. And so that broke off. The epoxy sculpt, I guess, just lost its structural integrity. So now I have this little piece of collar left with a gem on it. And so Nameless just has to carry that around with him all the time, because if it gets too far out of his proximity, his magic could just go out of control, and it could backlash and rip his soul to shreds. That would be permanent character death. There would be no recovering from that one if that were to happen. And I would willingly play that if it came down to it. I would be upset about having to create a new character, but if it created, like, the most memorable play for, like, the rest of Mythodia, I would be willing to kill Nameless. It would suck! But, I don't know. Maybe the backlash doesn't destroy his soul. That's just the assumption. Magic is weird in Mythodia. Maybe, instead, he ascends. Maybe he becomes a god. Who knows? We don't know what will happen, but that's the whole thing about characters. I didn't even know what his name was. I still don't know what his name is. I have an idea now, but I'm still not sure on it. And because of the way magic works in Mythodia, and especially on Sarkhan, the new continent, so we've gone from Mitraspera to Sarkhan, magic is very volatile and often violent. And when I created Nameless, initially his design was meant for, like, an alternative species in Reckoning, because I don't like playing just a human, and in Reckoning everybody's a human, straight up. Like, there are no other races as far as I know other than the orcs, and the orcs are just like the NPC faction. They're the same guys who show up to Conquest as far as I know. They went to Reckoning, and they were used as, like, an enemy NPC faction. And these guys just love being, like, big, badass, fighting orcs that, you know, make people's life a living hell on the battlefield and otherwise in game. And they just have so much fun doing it because it creates so much great play for other people. But, like, I didn't want to play a human, and I'm like, well, I'm never going to go to Reckoning because it's too far, and this was before I was going to Conquest, right? So I created Nameless and the Demora as just, like, a fun writing exercise. based on like other species that I had created in the past and other characters and blending them together. And I'm like, well, I need to create something that I can play, so I gave him my hair color and, you know, something relatively easy to wear. And he just became my VTuber. But like when I got to Conquest, I had no idea what was going on. I still have no idea what's going on. So I've decided to become a chronicler of the world in order to figure out what's going on so I can find Nameless's place in the world. So I've gotten deep dive into someone else's world building and collecting all of that information so that I can figure out where my character belongs. Because I can't figure it out otherwise. And that's why, like, too much backstory can be detrimental, because then you're locked into, like, certain things that your you had intentions for your character, and those intentions in the first 5 minutes of game can get entirely thrown out the window. Absolutely trashed. Simply by meeting the right character. Like what happened with Nameless and his caller. He was just wandering around town, and he met Ivy, and he had a piece of copper. So he bought tea and stood in the trough drinking tea with Ivy. The first thing he'd ever bought for himself. He was very excited about this tea. And it was from the coins that Ren had given him, who was his very first friend ever in his whole life. All 700 plus years. And Ivy's like, I have to go deliver a letter to someone important. And Nameless is like, well, I just met these like blacksmith people. They were really important. And so we went back to the blacksmiths. I think that's how it happened. It might be the other way around, that like we asked and someone was like, oh yeah, maybe try the blacksmiths. And we're like, oh, okay. It's something like that. And we got to talking, and Argol is the master of 5 elements, who is like the leader of the blacksmiths from the west, which is a king. And yeah, he's just like this really important guy, but Nameless was like, let's be friends. And I only found out afterwards that he was so important. And that's how like he met Argol, and Argol's like, oh, it's magical, so Ernst might be able to do something about that. And Nameless is like, okay, I'll come back when Ernst is here. And so Nameless comes back eventually and meets Ernst. And Ernst tries to remove the collar, and the collar does come off because it had broken the night before when I was taking it off to go to bed. And I was like, I need an excuse for this to be off. That's also fun. And then afterwards, Nameless is like, oh, so you're a mage, you know, and he had already given his shell, so they're friends now. And Ernst was like, yes, I'm the Archmage. Nameless was like, oh shit. It was a lot of fun, and it's not something that I expected to happen, but happened because of, like, my prop didn't hold up to the level of abuse that it was going through at Conquest. So my prop broke, an important prop that's integral to my character broke, and I had to make play and find play to make it work for him within the world in a way that made sense and created a good story. Oh yeah, 3 hours is nothing. Also, that whole too much backstory, I don't think I'm gonna go with my current approach to my OCs and give them broad backstories and some structure, but not terribly detailed. Yeah, it sometimes helps. Sometimes it's the freedom your character needs to develop. Well, one of those almost stayed for a little bit. Thank you for the hydrate fantasy. But yeah, that's just an example of, like, plans that I had that were absolutely annihilated simply by circumstance. My prop didn't hold up, so I found play to make my prop coming apart work for my character within the boundaries of the world. And then this year, when my collar exploded after I had repaired it and put it back on, you know, Nameless is like, now nobody can enslave me. I am my own master, and therefore I am free. But it's also, like, protects him from, you know, his magic going out of control. But now that's not, it's not the full protection anymore, because the collar's broken. And because there was nobody that could help me fix it, and they're like, oh, we'll help you fix it tomorrow, and I'm like, well, I need this to work now, so I just made it work. I was upset, yes. I was very proud of that prop. I was very upset that it broke. And I just made it work. The circumstance of the game and the world, and like my ability as a writer and a creator allowed me to be able to figure out something, like an excuse as to why this thing broke, that satisfied the feelings that I had towards it breaking. And in a way, it's like, well, it's broken. It's inconvenient that you gotta carry it around all the fucking time now, but also, like, it kind of works so beautifully in the world that, like, magic here is volatile and dangerous, and you never know what's gonna happen. Just like real life, you never know whether you're gonna bend forward to pick something up and the bench is gonna fall out from underneath you and possibly crack the bone in your elbow because it still hurts now. It's a month later and it still hurts. But only when I press on it in a certain way. But just like real life, you never know what's going to happen in a LARP game. And having too much of a background really can hinder you in character development and play. Even, like, you look at Ark, and Ark had, like, this whole plan for his character, he had everything set up and ready to go, and then Air France lost his luggage. And therefore all of his equipment, all of his clothes, except for, like, the stuff he had shoved into his bag, along with his money and toiletries. He had to basically buy a costume at Conquest, but he found, like, this really awesome hat, and it's become, like, this key to his character. You know, it's very iconic now. And, like, his story, his backstory changed. He's like, oh yes, I was a shipwreck. And all I have is this paddle. So Air France gave him some money to make up for the fact that he's on this vacation where he has to buy a whole bunch of clothes and equipment and stuff. And he's like, I decided that Air France was going to pay for a battle paddle. So he bought a foam canoe paddle. And that was his weapon. And I think that's, like, the greatest thing ever. Because nothing survives the first 5 minutes of game, and in this case, things sometimes don't survive arrival to a game. So he had to make it work, and he absolutely made it work. And he made friends with this other girl who's like, I want to do criming too, in the first 5 minutes of game. And by the end of the first year that they were there, they were already doing stuff that people hadn't done in like 5 years. This is why, like, when I hear Ark talk about really competent players, I get really sad because I'm like, well, I failed my quest 2 years in a row because I'm just not competent, right? And I feel a little bit bad, and not just a little bit, like quite a lot. It caused me a fair amount of depression last Friday. Well, last Thursday and Friday when they discussed it on the live stream. Like, I felt pretty awful. Not gonna lie. Because, like, when you talk about super competent players and then the players who can't seem to achieve anything hear that, they just feel like they're incompetent. It's kind of... I don't know how to put it in a way that... like, it's not... They didn't say it in a malicious way, but when you're struggling to find your place in a world, in a place that you really love and want to spend more time in, it's really hard emotionally, and that's a little bit of the, like, character bleed kind of thing, because I know I'm not incompetent. It's just Nameless is struggling to find his place in the world, and so that's an example of character bleed that you can feel, and that is what I am feeling, because even in this world, I myself feel incompetent as someone who lives in this society and can't seem to find their place in it. I'm now 40 years old, and I'm moving back home with my parents because I can't find a job to pay rent. I couldn't afford to have children. I never got into a relationship because I couldn't reciprocate anything in a relationship because I could never find work. You know, I felt like there's all these rules to society that, like, I have to reciprocate, and I can't do that because I'm not successful in any measure. Just get a job, people who think it's simple. Yeah, it's not. And, like, I don't know how everybody else gets jobs. I apply for jobs, I never get jobs. I never get callbacks. The only time I get callbacks is when they don't even need to interview you because they can't find anybody for that job because it sucks and it doesn't pay enough, and nobody can get to the job because the jobs that people need the bus to get to, the bus doesn't run for those jobs. AKA the UPS job that I got and then didn't get because I got locked out of their system, and when I called them, they're like, oh yeah, it'll be fixed by Saturday. It wasn't. And then the other applications for UPS that I put in were all rejected. Every last one of them after that. No matter what position it was for. So I think I got added to a do not hire list for UPS. And that's even more frustrating. Yeah, you can imagine how I feel about that. That even the job where they're like, we need anyone who will take this, won't even take me. It's like, can you imagine how I feel about that? After struggling for so long, I finally got an option. And then I got locked out of the system, and I did everything I could to get back into the system. I called people, I emailed people, I checked back, nothing. And then I keep getting rejected for any of those jobs that I apply for. I can't even. And then people wonder why I'm depressed. And then, you know, how character bleed affects me so. Thank you, Ross. And, like, the only thing I have ever been successful at is this. The only thing. And, like, there's people here who are lurkers, and I appreciate you all. I know that oftentimes you're off doing something else and listening. But like the fact that like the regulars show up every single day makes me show up every single day because you're here. That is the only reason I am still doing this, is because you're here and I enjoy being with you guys. I enjoy doing this sort of thing. Sometimes talking about the hard parts of life, and then other times just being an unhinged gremlin. I like both of those things. I'm done complaining about my life. Now I just talk about it as like a point of reference and experience for like what makes me who I am. But like I can't help but be frustrated sometimes about how things have gone. But also it's in the past and I can't change those things. So all I can do is keep moving forward, you know? Maybe if I continue going to Conquest, maybe I'll meet someone who is my ideal match. You know, someone who I feel comfortable opening up to. There's actually a character at Conquest that Nameless feels very comfortable with in that regard, in the way that, like, I would want to feel about a partner. And I'm starting to understand, like, the kind of thing that I'm looking for in someone through Nameless. And that's why I decided mainly to make him an incubus, to explore that part of myself that turns off those feelings. Someone who's seeking companionship with other people actively, but is also far too afraid to reach out for that companionship, but also needs it in order to survive. Because QB require that kind of interaction. And that's why, like, the Frivolita cards work out so well for him. But the way I described it is, it's like trying to survive off of grocery store free samples. Like, that's the only food you get, is grocery store free samples. That's what it's like for him. And he tends to, like, after a while, he starts to get a little bit frustrated, you know, hangry in a way. And he's worried that, like, if he doesn't complete the treasure hunt to find the Frivolita pin, which is coveted so thoroughly, more so than even the rare cards, he's worried that he will lose control of himself and fall back into the habit that he spent 700 years just living as. And he just doesn't want to be that anymore. He wants to be more than, you know, a whore. You know, he wants to be valuable and useful to somebody. Kind of like in the way that, like, I don't want to be a burden on society. I want to be more than that. And, you know, that's the beauty of LARP, is you can explore that without really being in danger of anything, right? You can explore what it's like to be a criminal and play this seedy underbelly character who threatens people and extorts them, and or you can be an orc who just likes to kill. And that's what's so cool about LARP, is like you can explore those aspects of basically humanity. Even if you're an orc, you're still exploring a part of the human psyche. And I think that's really neat. And that's why I love LARP so much. And you can use that to explore parts of yourself that you're not necessarily comfortable with. Well, hence the incubus part. So part of me, I'm very private about who I am and, like, my preferences for partners and, you know, those things. Oh, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But as a character, I can play that up a little bit and exaggerate it, have fun with it, and maybe be a little less uncomfortable with topics like that in my real life. And that's why, like, even though Nameless is 700 years old and he's got some really horrible darkness in his past, that left him open to, he's afraid, but he's also, like, he's seeing a lot of the good side of people when all he saw was the darkness. And so he's learning to see things in a more positive light. And that's another thing that I need to do in my life, is allow myself to see the good things and not the negative things. And I think it's even just the last 2 years of Conquest, it's helped me to learn not only what I like in game, which is to be a playmaker and make experiences for other people, but outside of game too, to be more open and honest about my feelings and the things that I like and dislike, to advocate for myself a little bit better, and to communicate with other people. I think that's the biggest thing that's come out of both streaming and LARP, is the communication skills that I've gained. Otherwise, like, I still struggle a lot to keep a train of thought. That's just the ADHD. This is a long ramble about how character backstory can be detrimental, and how character bleed can really affect you in real life. You got a job at a candy factory? Or you had a job at a candy factory? Yeah, loud and dangerous. Yeah, you think something as innocuous as candy, something as joyful as candy, wouldn't be so dangerous. But it is. The people who work in factories have very, very dangerous jobs. Machinery is terrifying. Like back in the day when you were making everything by hand, the worst you had to worry about is burns. Fire, maybe catching your hand in a roller if you were using something like that. It's like the old washing machines. Those old hand crank things with the two big rollers that squeeze the water to death out of the fabric. Those things were hella dangerous. There were many children who lost hands because of it. Even adults. Machinery is dangerous and terrifying. Evan still isn't on. Mind you, while I was working that job, I was still expected to be a responsible adult at home. Well, I mean, isn't that what it is to be an adult? You go to your job and you're a responsible adult there, and then you go home and you're a responsible adult. Yeah. Ross, I really feel like you're being taken advantage of. I hope you're able to get away from that situation. I had a friend recently who was living with their abusive family, and we managed to get them out of there. Their life's been really rough, but honestly, I think they're better off getting away from those people and dealing with the harder aspects of life than having to be with the people who abuse and take advantage of them. Yeah. I'm glad for them. And like they've had to, you know, rely on some friends for some things. But that's what friends are for. And I know, speaking from personal experience, it's hard to rely on people for help when you feel like you don't deserve it. Oh, I had no idea that you were trans, Rose. I'm glad that you're comfortable enough to say that here to us. Thank you. Thank you for your trust. I'm just a potato. We're all potatoes. My best quote yet. Alright, shall we find someone to raid so that I might be able to have a little bit of sit down with Fantasy to help her with her character? Just find someone to raid. None of the people that I usually raid have been on. Well, I guess we could go to CNOT. Where has Evan gone? I miss him. Maybe he's on vacation. And Good's not on, so can't raid him. I miss Good streaming in the woods. Helps if caps lock isn't on. So we're off sailing to other waters, everybody. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk today. All the feels. I will see you again tomorrow, same time as every time. Every day, each day, everything. Necromancer, thank you once again for your support of the community with the gifted sub to Kavach. And everybody have a great day. I hope my motivational speech was motivational, not demotivational. Alright, I'll see you all tomorrow. I love you all, sincerely, as usual. Bye-bye.